Hello, Marion community. I have the privilege of speaking with Olivia Thomas today about her experience with the ORR Fellowship. Olivia, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, my name's Olivia Thomas. I'm originally from Goshen, Indiana, which is about 2 hours north of Indianapolis. I study business management here, and with minors in Spanish, German, and I'm finishing up my accounting one senior year. It's not officially on there yet, but we're getting there. Um, and I am currently being placed with recruiting experiences in Broad Ripple through the ORR Fellowship. It's a startup recruiting company focusing in tech and engineering positions all across the United States.
Excellent. And so, can you explain the ORR Fellowship process to people and what maybe you found was the most difficult about it?
Yeah, I it kind of starts in August of every fall semester. So I would say around the end of August, beginning of September is when you want to think about applying and making sure that everything's good. The application process I don't think closes until the end of September. And then you will find out in early October whether or not you've made it through the first round. So that's after them looking at your resume, your a few of the different pieces of information that they want to give you. It's a very basic first application. The second one is where it really kind of gets rolling. The second round is what I would say. From there, they will give you an interview with one of their board members. It can be a board member, it can be a current CEO, I would say, of one of their partner companies. And then after that, they have you give a one sentence summary of yourself. So, kind of like a business pitch that I would say, or an elevator pitch, as well as a short 3 paragraph essay about what you are, who you are, given like a prompt, and kind of you go through, and it's maybe 300 words. It's not a lot. And then from there, you find out in early November, I'm pretty sure. Sorry if the timeline's a little off, but it goes really fast. So it's all kind of crunched in October and then the very beginning of November. So you should have a job possibly before Thanksgiving. So you can go, boast to your friends and family that you have a job at 2 years for the next 2 years after the OR fellowship experience and like the application process. But then from the short paragraphs and the elevator pitch, you get to they look at one final resume, everything like that, and then they decide who's going into the finals process. So you'll get a call and they'll be like, hey, you made it in, or an email. And then over the next 2 weeks, you're kind of going to have a roster, about 4 to 5 companies that have chosen your resume out of all of the applicants that they saw, and are like, yeah, I want to interview these students because I think that they'll fit really well in my company, corporation, whatever size business it is. And from there, I want to say the second week of November, you will be uh, basically interviewing for an entire day. It's marathon interviewing, is what I like to call it, with those 4 to 5 companies in one day. You'll have some breaks in between. It's not like they're back to back because there's about 90 other people that are also going to be interviewing, and every company has about 5 to 8 people that they're interviewing. But you will have different time slots, and over the entire day, you will be interviewing. And then from there, they'll give you a call that night if one of the companies matched with you. So it's kind of like the DOs matching with a different like med school or residency. This is kind of how they do it for us, and it's a whole big shebang for them and all of the companies. But through that time, there's also a couple getting to know other OR Fellows events, more networking, I would say. And after that, then you can have a week basically to say yes to their offer, which is really nice. Very quick, very, I wouldn't say easy, but very quick. The hardest part for me was probably waiting the distances between each part of it, because there's a week or two without any really a lot of communication, and they're like, then you get the email and it's kind of like, oh my gosh, did everybody get the email? And then it's a scramble to look into your junk mail because somehow it always ends up in the spam box instead of actually your regular inbox. Um, but I would also say the short pieces kind of about yourself and that part of the application process was difficult, because you have to fit, their word counts, but you have a lot to say about yourself. So, in that time of selling yourself, you have a certain amount of words that you can work with. And I found that to be the most difficult because I'm a wordy person. So it was interesting to try to use 300 words to describe my entire college process and all 5 internships that I've had. It was a lot. So that's probably the hardest part for me.
What do you think was the most exciting part?
I think the most exciting part was actually the interviewing section, and most people will probably say that that's really, really difficult, but I found it a lot of fun because I went in knowing that all of these different companies had chosen my resume and had chosen me out of that pool of applicants to talk to. And so then there was this crunch of time right before because you only get the roster about a week before. So you have to look up all of these different companies. They don't tell you who you're interviewing within the companies either, unless the company actually like reaches out to you personally and is like, here's who you're going to be talking to today. So it was kind of the not knowing part that was really exciting, but also it was they were all good companies. There's not, I don't think any one of them that I wouldn't have been successful in. And there's some of them are pretty big names around Indianapolis that you might be interviewing with. So it's I just found that really, really exciting.
And then how do you feel like your undergraduate preparation has helped you through this ORR process?
I think that Marion's dedication to all business majors, a lot of business majors, and I would say most students have to have internship experiences within their major and within their time at Marion. And for business majors, we can have 2 internships, but if you're making money over the summer, some people have had 3, some people have had 4. And I found that that was probably something that I was really proud of because I don't think a lot of other schools really push that to that extent. And because we had so many internships and we had that experience, a lot of people I feel like saw that as kind of a big respect moment because you've worked out in the workplace, you've already met a lot of people, you've had to work through those dynamics, and you've learned a lot of new skills through that, depending on who and what type of internship you've had. So because you've had that kind of all well-rounded experience is what I would call that, then it I would say that that was probably one thing that Marion really, really bolstered my application with. Um, yeah, that's probably what I would say. But also just being involved in all the activities on campus. We do have a lot of activities that people can be a part of from like SGA to CAB. I'm part of, a lot of the music stuff going on campus, but I also work on campus. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
So what ultimately led you to choose the ORR Fellowship versus a more traditional route of job searching and trying to land a job?
I am not gonna lie, but I was a little bit nervous kind of starting that application process, getting out into the real world, as they would call it. Um, and this is, I feel like, a lot nicer and more safe environment than just being thrown in. And especially with kind of like how everything's been these last couple of years, kind of been a little bit unstable, I feel like, in the job markets. But right now, luckily, there's a lot of people that are looking for workers and looking to hire. So if you don't go the OR route, there's definitely job opportunities out there for you. I just wanted the more secure environment of you have a 2-year guaranteed job right out of college that's going to give you experience and you're going to have to work. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to be working with a good company and the company wanted you. And as a management major, I felt like it was really hard to decide what job positions I wanted to apply at like for anyways, because it's kind of an all-encompassing one. And then you have to decide what your experiences are based off of your internship and how many years of experience does that count towards. And it was a lot to kind of look at all of these different big corporations that you kind of want to work for, but then you're like, do I actually fit the bill? So this OR fellowship is going to be a lot nicer of a network. I feel like I have, 120 other students in my like group, but then there's another 120 that are above me, and then there's great networking events. They still want you to continue learning, and they fund that learning as well. So you can, you have $500 to choose what you want to do with, whether that be me learning another language or going to language courses or maybe learning coding instead, since that's going to be the environment that I'm in at some point. They continue to kind of push you to grow, is what I would say. So that's kind of where I wanted to be at this time.
any last pieces of advice for students who are considering, or maybe just watching this and then like, oh, maybe I should consider this as an option for me?
I would say that I know that a lot of these are going to be Business 200 students. So whatever Brady's telling you about your resume, really be working on it because I'm not gonna lie, it is a necessary thing. And the only reason I had a great resume going in is because I went to the exchange and I talked to them about it and I learned the formatting that needed to happen from them. And I would say that my resume stood out because of the fact that I had all of those internships for Marion. I put on there, what was most current, and I've had good internships, but you're also your experiences on campus continue to be involved. That's really the most important thing, and continue to add to that, and push yourself if you haven't already. I'm sure that every one of the people that probably are going to watch this are great students, especially the ones that are like, yeah, I'm going to apply to OR. So, think of all of the other students that are like applying to that, and then really center and focus your resume into something that you are good at, because everybody's good at something. Everybody can stand out in something. So all you have to do is make sure that your resume communicates that, because that's going to be the first thing that they look at. So just make sure that it's clean and looks nice. So
Thank you.
Probably, yeah.
If this piece of this gets into this video, I did not pre-tell her to do what I said.
No, I like the exchange. We have a lot of fun there. They're all very, very great. So
All right, Olivia, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hearing back from you maybe this next round that we do these videos to see and to get a little check-in with you to see how things are going.
Yeah, that'll be almost probably I'll be in a year in. I'm hoping maybe at that point, or almost a year in. So that'll be really exciting. And thank you for inviting me to actually speak about it, because I think it's a ton of fun to kind of share my experience.
Yeah, well, thank you so much and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.